Just look at them. All that and a lot more coming up. Welcome back to the channel, and as promised, I have one hell of an update for you guys today. So I know the GTO has been seemingly on the back burner for the past couple of weeks because we've been working on the Durango, because the Durango's, primary vehicle. We got to get back to two, and then we can get back on the cars that haven't moved in a very, very long time. That being said, we made some moves. So long story short, there's a set of wheels I had been eye fondling, we'll say, window shopping, some might consider, on Marketplace for about a year, maybe longer. Actually, the seller had joked with me. He's like, "Oh, it's my longtime parts pen pal," because every month I'd hit him up like, "Hey man, just let you know, as soon as I can have the opportunity to make a move on these, they're mine." And I watched them drop in price over the past year or so, and it was a set of wheels his brother had on his C5 or C6, he's not sure, but definitely a Z06 of some sort. He said 50th anniversary, so I'd like to assume it was a C5 Z06, which is great because the C5 particularly and the early C6s have a lot in common with the GTO. Like, a lot of things carry over, like the power steering pump, some of the accessories like that. The wheels, exact same bolt pattern, exact same hub space, they go right onto the GTO. The thing is, if you run a Corvette wheel, especially one as aggressive as the ones I'm about to tell you about, you got to do quite a bit of massaging. And so with that being said, here's what we got. These are 18 by 11, I want to say, in the front, and then 17 by 12s in the rear. That's a lot of wheel, like a lot of wheel. However, we already have a pretty much a gutted GTO. It's caged, it's mini tubbed, with the exception of the lower control arms still have to be notched so that they'll actually clear the tire. But the rear of the car is already set up to run these wheels, like 100%. You're about to see here in a second. The front, on the other hand, I'd have to run a pretty aggressive front spacer to run the front wheels and then check for any clearance issues. But here's the thing. Since we're running the Holden Adventure front end that's on its way from Australia, we'll get to that in a second, on the all-wheel drive chassis, like the Adventura and the HSV4, the front hubs are pushed out about 2 inches, which is about how much space I need to clear the strut towers in the front, about 2 inches or so. And so since we're going all-wheel drive, the front wheels fit by default, more or less. Now we'll see once we get the front end on and test fit the wheels what the steering looks like, but it's happening, man. It's happening. Hold on a second. So yeah, this wasn't cheap, but I kind of felt like it was one of those moments where you just kind of had to swing for the fences and see how it works out. If you see me duck and dive, it's because I got the aerial marines are out. It's that time of year, and the pest control guy hasn't been out here yet because it rained yesterday. So if you see me do a quick head bob and weave, it's because these assholes are flying around. But anyway, like I said, so here's the rear. On the passenger side, you can see from the top, we're gonna have a little bit of, just outside of the fender a teeny bit, not a whole lot. I'm not super worried about it once I get the tire on there. There's the wheels. Like I said, they fit perfectly. Then you can see back here, since I already have coilovers on the back, we're not gonna have too much issues with the tire. I might have to run a small spacer and some extended wheel lugs to bring it out maybe a half an inch or an inch or so to be 100%, but that's it. But that notching hasn't happened yet. That's still the factory lower control arm. Those are supposed to be notched to clear the tire. I just haven't done it yet because it hadn't been a priority up to this point. But other than that, those are really minor compared to somebody with a bone stock GTO would have to do to make these wheels work. So I'm like 3/4 of the way there, so it's whatever. Now, on to the front. Aerial assholes. Look at it. Just look at it. And since it's an 18-inch wheel, I can run the CTSV style brake conversion. However, the Adventuras or all the all-wheel drive Holdens of this body style in Australia have an aftermarket version available over there. So we'll have to run that brake kit on the front of this car if the CTSV kit won't fit. We won't know until the parts get here. But anyway, outside of that, you can see where this touches, but you can see how the studs come through on the one side and then touch on the top, because it's about, I'd say an inch or so, maybe more, of finagling needs to happen so this wheel can sit flat against the hub and clear the strut tire. But like I said, the Adventurers run a completely different setup up front, and that pushes this wheel out even further. So we might have some track things to deal with once the front end's on here and kind of see where the wheels fall. We might have to do some spacer math to get the tires and wheels to sit square all around and see what the turning radius and stuff looks like. But I think overall we're going to be 100% fine. And since it's a 17-18 combo, with 17s in the rear, 18s in the front, we can still run a healthy tire out back as well. And that's important because even though it's all-wheel drive, well, the Adventura torque split is 64-36, I believe. So running a slightly stickier, taller tire in the rear will be perfectly fine. As long as the overall tire diameter is the same, front to rear, we'll have more sidewall, I guess is the better way to put it, in the rear for a proper tire. So that's all that matters, honestly. But man, check it out. They're not sitting flush. Like I said, a little goofy because of that there. And, you know, there in the back sits flush. But yeah, it's happening. It's 100% happening. And I cannot wait to go down this journey with you guys to see how this turns out. So we're committed before, but now we're super committed, okay? And that's saying a lot. There's really no going back at this point. I guess you could argue if I decided that, you know, this all-wheel drive thing wasn't for me, I'd have a bunch of parts I couldn't use or whatever. But I think all things considered, we're going to be fine. The only question that remains as far as all-wheel drive stuff is concerned is what to do about steering. So that's what we're waiting on. That gets me to my next point. Got a guy in Australia named Alex. I'll put his info up in the video here. Alex Alien, I believe. And yeah, he's in Melbourne, I think he said, which is on the coast there. He has a shipping business, international. I'll have all his info in the video and in the description for you guys, who took really good care of me. Here is a screenshot. Okay, and so that's a screenshot of the parts, of everything that we got coming. I might still have it up in the video, so there's that. Motherfucker. Wasp. Aerial Marine, same thing. And they should ship next week. And so I might not make another video about the shipping process or anything, but I'll make some posts either on Facebook, Instagram, or I guess YouTube has a posting feature I've been posting to, just to kind of show you guys the stuff he sends me as far as it getting packaged up and being on its way. It's coming over by boat, so we're looking at anywhere between late July, early August arrival, possibly sooner, but it'll be landing in Indianapolis, or in Indiana, I believe he said. So we'll have to go from Oklahoma to Indiana to pick up the parts, most likely in a pickup or at least a trailer behind the Durango, because it's going to be on a big pallet, and they'll bring all that stuff back. Now, weight-wise, we're looking at, I think he said 500 kilograms, which isn't super heavy. So I'm not even worried about the Durango pulling it on a trailer or anything. But yeah, man, that's that's it. That's coming. It's on its way. And big shout out to Alex for helping us out. I believe it's AU International's name of the company, but I'll edit it obviously and put the name up there properly. I'm trying to go off memory here. And yeah. We're here, man. We are here. This car hasn't had a set of wheels in probably 6 or 7 years because it's been on jack stand since then. And when we first moved into this house, I was just selling stuff to free up some cash to do some other things, and the car wasn't moving, so I didn't see any reason to hang on to the wheels. Plus, at the time, I had already planned to get a OG baller set of wheels like these. That'll never get old. Because I don't know. Sorry about that. At some point I'll get a proper video equipment, but it's all with time and money, mostly money. Look at sponsors. So anyway, like I said, back when I came up in the car game, early, late high school, early military career, middle school really. CCWs were the wheel. I mean, CCWs, Volk, TE37s if you're really hardcore Japanese car enthusiast at the time, or a set of super advans. But for the American market particularly, and you already know what I'm about to say, the 2003 to 2004 Mustang Cobra. If you had that combination, these wheels, that car with a pulley and a tune, you were the baddest of the bad. And that I just love the way that car looked with those wheels. And the GTO is no Cobra, obviously, but I've always dreamt of having this particular set of wheels. But every time that came up, I either didn't have the money or they were astronomically priced. And so in this case, I was in a situation where I could at least take a swing at it. Now, I'm gonna be a little broke for a couple days, but it'll be totally worth it because it was one of those opportunities that you just took it. You just took it, and hopefully it translates into something being totally worthwhile, which it is for me. So that's all that matters, I guess. But I mostly wanted to show you guys that have been following up to this point that I am 1000% serious about seeing this project through. I am aware of the steering concern because obviously right-hand drive car, right side starter, that frees up the left side tunnel well to be wide open for a dry shaft to go through. Well, this is 2025, and if we can manage to put NASCAR engines into Miatas and all-wheel drive convert 300s, then we can figure out a simple steering rack issue. Either we'll have to get creative with the drive shaft or engine height, or just running a completely electric drive-by-wire setup. All of that is possible. When you have companies like Fuel Tech out there building pretty amazing standalone systems, then, I mean, somebody has a way to rectify what I feel like is a very, very minor issue. Get it a different rack, or one where the steering box sits a little further to the left, or whatever. So for those of you who are like, it's not gonna work, cool story, bro. I mean, car enthusiasts around the world are the reason why the car scene is where it is today. All of the technology that is currently in the cars happened because somebody said, I bet we can figure out how to make that work. So let's channel that energy as car enthusiasts, especially American car enthusiasts, because we've got some pretty amazing claims to fame by default. Let's act like it. The project's a big deal, yes. Got to order parts from literally halfway across the world, sure. But let's not shoot it out of the sky until we get to the point where we're like, okay, we're either going to commit to continue on with this process, or we're going to see how to approach this a different way. And that's just kind of my attitude about it. But as far as the wheels are concerned and the offset, well, the offset's kind of a non-issue because the front's being converted to all-wheel drive, which will fix my front offset issue. The rear is already mini-tubbed, and I can run an extra shim or two or spacer if I need to get them out a little bit further if necessary with extended wheel studs, which I already have on hand. I just never put them in the car. So I mean, we're there, man. We are there. We're there. So thanks you guys for following up to this point. I'm super pumped. I'm going to stare at these wheels for another couple of minutes where I have to go take care of the wife's car and do some husbandly things. But outside of that, as always, thanks for watching.